Shout out to Alana Trotman from across the pond over in the UK for sending me this story that I believe is coming from the UK. That's why I like having people have international people who can send me stories from over there so we could talk about them over here. Because that just lets you know other places are just as messed up as this one, if not worse. And this story right here is going to prove that. So in this picture, you see a man by the name of Antony Akid. And ironically, his last name is Akid, or is it Akid? I'm not sure, but it's spelled Akid. And how ironic if it is pronounced Akid, considering the foundation of this story. And this guy is a pedophile. But he gets a very interesting punishment, if you even want to call it a punishment. So a judge ordered Antony Akid, who was 35 years of age, to undergo experimental eye therapy and for him to pay for it himself to curb his perverted interest in children. I have never, in my 31, soon to be 32 years of existence, in my lifetime of being on YouTube and doing these commentaries, have ever heard of such an asinine punishment such as this. If you even want to call it a punishment or a consequence. Like, what is that? So I'm guessing the only punishment he's really getting is the fact that he's going to have to pay for the surgery himself. Which is probably nothing, well, depending on his lifestyle and his finances. But still, let's get into it. A judge has ordered a pedophile to undergo an experimental eye treatment to curb his perverted interest in children. Antony Akid of Grimsby, Lincolnshire, admitted possessing indecent images of children when police visited his home. Judge Ahmed Nadim deferred sentence on Akid in order to assess his response to eye desensitization therapy. Grimsby Crown Court heard. He was told he must undergo the treatment either by paying for it himself or obtaining it through the NHS. The order was made after the judge was told it was the second time in 6 years that a kid had been convicted of possession of indecent images of children, following a previous conviction in 2014 when he admitted 8 counts of possession and 1 of distribution of indecent images. So this guy's a repeat offender and he's still out, and all he gets as punishment is some eye therapy. Back then, he received a 12-month prison sentence suspended for 2 years. The judge said this was a persistent breach and a breach of the sex prevention order imposed at the previous hearing. He said Akid admitted to having a perverted interest in children, though he had never translated that into acting out on those fantasies. And see, that's the trick bag. Because he didn't act out on his sick, perverted fantasies, that's why they keep letting him slide, aside from the fact of, he has the complexion for protection. It is one of the first times, but see the thing, what if he was to act out on those urges? Then, see, this is exactly why they need to brief these judges, because these judges be letting people like this get away with way too much crap. It is one of the first times a judge has ordered the treatment of at Grimsby Crown Court and made it a condition of a deferred sentence. The therapy involves a relatively new treatment of eye movement, desensitization, and reprocessing. So you're telling me that because you feel something may be wrong with his eyes, even though they didn't really specify there was anything wrong with his eyes, this is supposed to cure him of looking up indecent images of children? It is available from the NHS and involves a patient recalling a traumatic event, usually from their childhood. At the same time, the patient receives stimuli in a rhythmic left-right pattern. Why does it sound like they're making him out to be the victim? It sounds like he's actually going to a therapist. They said reliving out a traumatic point in his childhood. The stimuli can be something the patient sensed through hearing, sight, or feeling. The bilateral stimulation could involve movement of the eyes from side to side or a tapping movement on different sides of your body. Trained staff who also use tones heard through one ear, then the other wearing headphones. The process lasts for about 90 minutes once a week. It is used in the treatment of panic attacks, anxiety, addictions, and eating disorders where patients disclose their feelings as a practitioner moves an image from side to side as they are talking. Well, look at all the other examples they use. That's not exactly lining up with a guy who's a pedophile. Judge Nadim said Akid had a perverted sexual interest in child pornography. You contribute to the exploitation of vulnerable children that leads to immeasurable harm. The images you viewed are created with harm and with consequential danger that lasts many years. The easiest thing would be to look at the guidance and to determine how long you are going to prison for, the judge said. He added, I'm willing to accept that you are committed to referring yourself to specialists and correcting yourself and refocusing yourself. If that can be achieved, that will be good for you and good for society. I'm giving you a chance that you will take measures to correct yourself. This guy is a repeat offender, and he's getting chance after chance, and this latest chance seems to be like the icing on the cake for him. Like, not only is he getting out, like, he doesn't have to go to jail, but he gets eye treatment, some punishment. In the meantime, you will not offend in any way, shape, or form, and you will obtain counseling and therapy. I don't expect you to wait for financial reasons. He said he wanted confirmation within 3 days that Akid had made contact with experts. If you don't, you will appear before me and I will impose a significant sentence, the judge warned him. Before the judge deferred the case to August 27th, prosecutor Paul Guinea said police had visited Akid's home in Grimsby in November 2019. He denied possessing the images and any interest in indecent images of children and denied being a risk to children. Mr. Guinea said police later found 227 images of the most serious classification involving children as young as 3 to 4 years old. There were a total of 593 in lesser categories. Akid admitted downloading the images between March 2019 and November 2019. For Akid, Craig Lowe said his client had experienced trauma as a child and is now seeking psychological support. He said he's exploring eye desensitization therapy from an expert named in court as Stuart McLeod. It is available on the NHS, but can mean you have a long wait, or he can pay privately and be seen within 2 months. He has made efforts to make sure he does not reoffend, said Mr. Lowe. He added his client would start rehabilitation therapy immediately. The judge said Akid will be subject to a sexual harm prevention order indefinitely, and a condition of his bail is that he has to obtain counseling and therapy with the named experts on a self-financing basis. This is such crap. This guy has been allowed to literally offend, reoffend, and get away with it, and they still allow him off the hook with some damn eye therapy. What's to stop him from doing it again? After all, he did it once before. And when I say that, I mean he has reoffended. So what's to stop him? It's because of the constant slaps on the wrist. Well, not even slaps, more like little light taps with one finger. One little finger tap on the wrist is why he keeps doing these things. He doesn't know what real punishment is. Apparently, neither does the judge. That judge needs to be removed from the bench immediately, ASAP, as soon as possible, today. And then they try to say palm color privilege isn't real. Here's exhibit number, letter, whatever, because there's been so many examples, I've lost count. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. If you have not done so already, make sure that you text the number that is pinned down in the comments below to receive notifications every time I upload a new video or go live.